Episode 40. The final boss of Frost Forest is the Goblin Lord, Frost Scion. The fact that it has a name tells you this dungeon is considered more important than the hidden boss in the starter village. Sion's build was no different from a common goblin's, but his ferocious features made him look far more sinister and cunning. At least he didn't have the typical goblin's garish, comical blue nose. Frost Scion's entire skin was already that same shade of azure. With his back turned, hiding his face, he almost looked like a cute pet, but every player knew this guy was anything but cute. The ice blade in Frost Scion's right hand was as tall as his squat body. When he swung it, a biting chill swept through the air, and its reach extended far beyond what players could perceive. Because of this guy's special attacks, the main tank holding aggro often gets controlled here. That's why the Frost Forest Guide recommends bringing 2 tanks. It takes a lot of pressure off when facing the first boss, the Goblin Patrol, and Frost Scion. But Ye Shu was no ordinary player, bound by some cookie-cutter guide. Seeing the 4 were in range, he simply said let's go, and sent Lord Grim charging in with his spear. This was only possible because this team's members were truly top-notch. If it had been their old crew from the early days, he'd have had to give a lot more instructions, and in the heat of battle, he'd have needed to keep a much closer eye on them. They were nowhere near as reliable and hassle-free as Blue River and his group. Blue River and the other 3 wasted no words, charging in right behind him. Lord Grim charged ahead, drawing the Frost Scion's attention. Its movement speed was twice that of a normal goblin. Its stubby legs spun like wheels, and in an instant, it had already charged right up to Lord Grim. But the very next instant, Frost Scion was already launched into the air.
Incredible.
Blue River and the other 3 watched in silent awe. Don't let that single strike fool you. With Frost Scion's speed and agility, landing a clean hit like that is anything but easy. Even pulling this boss is a challenge in itself. Take Blue River's MT, Lantern Knight, for example. Last time they ran Frost Forest, he didn't land a hit until his 3rd attack. But then he managed to chain a few moves together and build up solid aggro. That's already considered a pretty impressive performance. For an average party, it's common for the main tank to get whittled down to a sliver of health without securing proper aggro. In the end, the aggro just splashes over onto the poor cleric who's desperately trying to keep the MT alive. Lord Grim launched Frost Scion into the air, then followed up with a rapid series of skills, chaining together a combo while the boss was airborne. But Frost Scion was a named boss after all. You think you can juggle me forever? I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. Suddenly, a flash of blue light erupted in mid-air, and he vanished without a trace. Blue River and the others weren't surprised. Frost Scion had a teleport skill, after all. They were still searching for the guy when all 4 of them heard a distinct thwack, the sound of a successful backstab. When they looked over, Lord Grim's spear was still jabbing repeatedly into Frost Scion's body. Blue River and the other 3 were stunned. Looking further out, they saw another Lord Grim still in the original spot. A shadow clone? Of course, the 4 of them recognized it. They'd seen these skills countless times, nothing to get worked up about. What was truly astonishing was how Lord Grim instantly matched Frost Scion's teleport. Realizing this, Blue River and the other 3 were horrified. They knew that Frost Scion would show signs before teleporting. Just like a mage casting a spell, you could roughly judge where the spell would land by watching the direction of their gestures and chants. But this was an instant cast spell. Its tell was only a split-second flicker. Yet Lord Grim could still pinpoint exactly where it would land. Isn't that something only possible in theory? Frost Scion's blink, of course, had a cooldown. With it spent and useless, Lord Grim unleashed a relentless flurry of attacks, putting him completely on the back foot. After all his time as a boss, he'd probably never felt so utterly humiliated. Every time he tried to swing his blade or cast a spell, his opponent was always one step ahead, shutting him down.
Alright everyone, attack.
Blue River noticed the 4 of them seemed to be slipping back into watching a solo duel video. He quickly called out, and they all charged forward together. Their fight with Frost Scion was a battle danced on the edge of aggro. For a skilled team like Blue River's, running with just 1 MT, it was crucial to meticulously gauge the aggro between the tank and the boss to avoid OT. But now, with Lord Grim's relentless assault landing every single blow, all 4 of them were freed from that worry. Even though Frost Scion's main aggro wasn't on them, they were still bound to miss a few attacks. Frost Scion moved far too fast. This wasn't some stupid boss that would just stand there and trade blows with the main tank once it had aggro. Blink, he blinked again. Blue River and the others cursed. Frost Scion would use Blink the moment its cooldown was up, but today it had met its match. Lord Grimm's Shadow Clone Blink was on a whole other level. In the end, only Blue River and his 3 companions were left, slamming their keyboards in frustration as they turned to chase back and forth, a scene that had already played out many times.
Heads up, it's about to go red.
At that moment, Yeshu's voice suddenly dropped, low and serious. 4 voices answered in unison. Of course they'd already noticed such a critical issue as the red health state. When Frost Scion casts spells in its enraged state, it gains super armor. That means normal attacks can't interrupt it, and its casting speed is lightning fast. It can instantly conjure multiple ice tornadoes, a spell that's absolutely lethal to the players trying to surround it.
Fall back, now.
Blue River saw a murderous glint flash in Frost Scion's eyes. The great ice blade whirled, carving patterns in the air as an icy whirlwind began to form. Fall back, he shouted, immediately retreating from the boss's side. The other 3 weren't close combat types, so they didn't need to be as jumpy, but they still focused intently, adjusting their positions. This ice whirlwind had no aggro target. Once it formed, it just spun around wildly, but then with a thunderous crash, the whirlwind never materialized. Instead, Frost Scion was slammed face first into the ground.
A backdrop throw?
Lord Grimm used a backdrop throw. That skill can break super armor.
Running away? Didn't you learn Wave Wheel Slasher?
Huh? Yeshu said, sounding puzzled. Blue River knew the question was meant for him. Rippling Wave Slash is a Spellblade skill. It can also break super armor. Since it's a skill below level 20, even Blue River, a Blade Master, could learn it. Most Blade Masters do pick it up, not for the damage, but specifically to break super armor. Sure, a super armor-breaking skill can interrupt a spell cast under that state, but this is Frost Scion we're talking about. The same Frost Scion whose aggro the main tank often pulls onto the healers. Who in their right mind would risk the entire team, betting everything on landing that one super armor break? Blue River wasn't entirely without confidence, but the risk of a single misstep ruining the entire operation was too great. He chose the safe play, and now he was the one being called out. Feeling awkward, Blue River responded with shameless bravado.
I didn't learn it, Titch.
A collective gasp went up, but the 3 of them finally understood Blue River's feelings, and the shock didn't last long.
You should learn it. Breaking super armor is really useful. I know. I just haven't had enough skill points yet, so I haven't learned it for now. I'll go put some points into it later.
Blue River flushed crimson, being taught the basics like this.